Hey everybody, I'm Nico.
And I'm TK.
And that makes this X's for Comics. We're super excited. We got a lot of stuff to talk about today. We're doing this thing where we talk about new books this week, and we talk about classic crossover. And today we're doing it Batman and Punisher style. Pretty exciting.
That's a word.
Well, I found the Batman stuff exciting.
Yeah, well, even that, I've got thoughts. There was stuff on the Batman side that made me so incredibly happy. But man, we're just never gonna get the Aaron run back.
Nope. And this is something that I experience all the time with books that I love when like it goes away. It's Krakoa. It's Krakoa, but it's one man killing everybody. Krakoa.
You know, I feel very lucky to have met you when I did and not continued to get high off your own supply is the wrong term, but like experiencing Krakoa with just my partner Jake, and who like we tend to feed off each other in a very specific way when it comes to being fans of stuff. But meeting you led me to think a lot more critically about Krakoa, which led me to think a lot more, both critically, but then more open-mindedly by way of being critical about a lot of stuff between New X-Men and Krakoa. Which basically, like, once after House of M, I was like, there was never anything good until Krakoa. Like, that was up until you and I started talking comics. My line was essentially from No More Mutants until Krakoa, there was basically nothing good.
And I just want to double check. Are you including House of M in the good?
No, but
okay. I mean, please keep going. But I mean, no judgment. No judgment.
It's so tough with House of M because I don't remember. I feel like the time between New X-Men and House of M was just kind of. I don't like. It was the first time I was an adult thinking about comics. Like thinking really about my purchasing power and like what the next era would be, who the next big guy that they would get on would be. There were so many things that like, I don't know. I went through that time in a total daze. And yeah, I mean, I just really didn't think there was anything good once mutants got depowered until Krakoa. And as time has gone on and I've thought more critically, one, I've had to really assess that like Krakoa was awesome. It was really, really cool. Amazing idea. So much cool stuff there. Love it forever. Have a tattoo based on it. But there's a lot there that was not perfect. Not every book was the hit that I was telling myself it was at the time. And then a lot of stuff after mutants got depowered was good. A lot of books were good. There was a lot of good stuff that came there, and there were whole eras that were good. And like it's funny. It's like even at the time I knew they were good. But
okay, I'm moving us to Batman or Punisher. Let's go.
Yeah.
But I mean, I get what you're saying.
No. Yeah, sorry, but like the point being, like I feel that way about Punisher, where I'm just like, I have my one era that I think is good, and I know there are other ones. Like I know the Garth Ennis era is good. End of sentence. But I'm sad because I had my era for this book, and it really made the Punisher a character that I could like, and that I enjoyed liking. I enjoyed being critical of in a way where I could still experience him in books. And I'm so worried about never getting that back.
Dude, and I feel the same way because that's even part of like what happens, especially with I was seeing people feel this way about renumbering volumes in general, but that it seems to be the sentiment going into Batman, this volume reset that we're getting, where okay, they're saying that Hush 2 or Tissue, I can't even say it. Like I can't even figure out how you're supposed to read that. Hush Dose is going to end in something, but whatever it ends in is not going to affect the launch of Batman Volume 3. And I think to myself, Batman didn't renumber with Crisis. Batman did not renumber until New 52. And then it just kept going until now. And so it's there's an autographed Stan Lee pic in the background for sure. Thank you so much for catching that, Andrew. Everybody's like, how can this not matter? How can it matter or not matter? So I also want to liken it to our other project that we're doing with this, and it's kind of a cool thing, and you're going to be like, but, all right. So I want to ask you then, did you read, because I did it. I went and I read it. I read Bad Punisher, because like Big Pun doesn't want to be a player and Bad Pun does not get
John Garrett,
Punisher.
the John Garrett book.
Joe Garrison.
Sure. Yeah. Yes, I did read it.
Yeah. I mean, no, I'm like checking. I'm not correct. I'm not tracking.
Who's John Garrett? John Garrett's a guy.
Yeah, isn't he the S.H.I.E.L.D. agent?
Yeah. But so is John Garrison.
So Joe Garrison.
Joe Garrison, yeah. Yeah.
So Joe Rogan. So Joe Garrison. I gotta be honest, I only read it like this week. For this. I managed not to read it.
You read a bit of it for the show.
I read like the 4 and 10 page preview, and I talked about his appearances in Woman Without Fear, but Homeboy's only got 8 appearances.
Yeah, we never talked about the actual book on the show?
No, we skipped it because we were like having a moment.
Yeah.
And so like we said, no, I don't want that. No, I don't think so. And so I finally read it. And like, can I be honest? Like, if somebody was like, oh man, Top Chef eating out of a dumpster didn't do well. It's because Carrot Top was the host. I'm going to be like, no, can I be real with you? Carrot Top, whether or not he was a good or bad host, that's not the show, okay? And so, like, Joel McHale is on his 4th season of being a normal-sized man on Crime Scene Kitchen, but he couldn't make a 2nd season of Card Sharks happen. David Pepose is incredibly talented. I hated this miniseries. The guy's so talented. I hated this book. This book was bad, so this Punisher could never have done well.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a good idea in the first place. The idea that there is a person out there who experienced the exact same thing that the Punisher did and became the same guy is already just not a strong concept for the basis of just restarting the book. It's a brilliant concept for like, if DC does Superman the World or Joker the World, and Superman the World's a different thing, but Joker the World we talked about a couple weeks ago was a really fascinating book because it's like the spirit of the Joker in every different country, like places where they have their own crime scene and it looks like the Joker, and places where the Joker is kind of more of a revolutionary symbol, a countercultural symbol, and it is through the lens of all of these different countries. People everywhere experience the violent deaths of their families. I mean, there's going to the Palestinian Punishers is basically what I'm getting at when I say that. Like, there are so many people that experience horror when it comes to their family and want to commit violence to make it right. There could be something beautiful in addressing that, exploring that, coming to that. Just being like, yeah, there's just another guy. He's just another guy who had what happened to Frank Castle happen to him, and he also has guns, and so he's the Punisher now. It's just the same thing. That's weak. That's not fascinating to me. Even the idea of like how a woman, a wife and mother might come across that differently, as written by Erica Schultz, as written by Stephanie Phillips, any number of people. A black woman writing that, experience of systemic violence being part of her life could be really fascinating. Setting all those aside because they're really interesting, Jason Aaron left us with Maria Frank's wife, still alive, and I thought ready to become the next Punisher, because she was in this state of kind of like horrified with Frank, but also like she had been murdered and resurrected, and she had married Frank in the first place. So she loved something about that man that would become the Punisher, and had something of it herself. There was so much there that was saying that Maria could have been the Punisher. I just laid out like 5 more interesting options, ranting on my podcast. So I don't really know what to do. I don't know how we got into a pitch meeting and everybody was like, oh, just do the Punisher over again, but his name is Joe Garrett. Joe Garrison. Yeah, nailed it. Pitch over. Let's everybody go to lunch. I don't know how that happened. I can't understand how that happened.
I think the thing that I love the most about where you're presenting it from is like there's actually been other cool lady Punishers.
Yeah.
And like you're just putting out like we could have a book called Vengeance of the Punishers, and it could be about the elite squad of Punishers. Marvel, call us. We are ready to franchise your books. And
also the Punishers that you name, they all had other backstories too. Like they didn't have Frank's backstory. Like you can get Punishers different other ways. Like it doesn't always have to be that their families were killed. So how did we wind up with this?
I don't know. And so then like I finally read it, and like Homeboy's got 8 appearances, right? And like what's really Wubulous World of Doctor, are you fucking kidding me? About that is that this character is just so underdeveloped. And like one of the things that we come to love about the Punisher is how much he makes his kids feel real. You know what I mean? Like it takes on life that like you have to imagine. Like I don't know that I've ever even read it, but I totally imagine his son dressing up in army clothes and being like, I'm like you, Dad, with like, the long sleeves, being a floppy Muppet and stuff. And like I see it because that's what I see. You know what I mean? Like, and I see the daughter dressed like a little Debbie cake, but secretly has a knife in her boot, and Dad thinks it's cool. And like I see this for them because that's how realized it is. And in a day and age where that's the kind of thing you have room for on the page, that we never got that about this Punisher was a waste of my goddamn time. And I think the thing that's really interesting is the Punisher is in a fascinating spot, right? Like Daredevil was a couple of years ago, and now fucking look at him. He's Daredevil. You know what I mean? Punisher kind of lost a lot of the magic that he had. And, I'm really so glad that you brought up the unbelievably excellent Punisher from 2022, 2023, 1 through 12, and then Punisher War Journal, Brother, Blitz, and Base. Also 3 great one-shots from that era that kind of fit the vibe. The thing that really is on my mind is he's got that upcoming Marvel series by Ben Percy, who... Ben Percy and Jason Aaron fit a very similar concept aesthetic, but like where they are totally different is, Jason Aaron is like the Wild West and hell. And Ben Percy comes in and he's a little bit more like lumberjacks and hell. And like, you guys, Ben Percy's voice is so low, I can't imitate it for the life of me. And him coming on to this new Punisher title is so interesting too, because little fascinating fact for you, TK. So this is part of a partner show. On this weekend, we're going to be dropping an episode where we cover the 1994 double crossover between Batman and Punisher, Lake of Fire and Deadly Nights. And what y'all might not know is in the first one, it's not Bruce Wayne. It's...
Oh, is this when his back was broken?
Yeah, and so he's technically not the Punisher there. And so it's technically not Batman there. So it's so interesting to see that, like, right before this, Punisher isn't Punisher. There's sort of like a cycle to it. There's sort of like a nature of these characters come and go. And so, like, I'm just really interested in seeing how Marvel is going to push Punisher back to center to promote this new era. Of John
here's the really
Barenthal.
Ugly thing is, like, the political climate we were in when the Aaron run was out was very much like we're clear on the fact that the Punisher is a bad guy and his logo is not a good thing and people who wear it are bad people, and what we're watching is the downfall of an idiot. Like we're kind of amusedly watching somebody who thinks he's a superhero just get absolutely hoodwinked. It is so much worse than the 5th season of Angel, but it's, you know, that same concept where somebody thinks he has to do the thing because he's the one who can use the evil properly, but he is actually just being completely corrupted. And there was just so much messaging there that the Punisher is not good, you know, is not a good side of vigilantism. Having that I'll do anything to stop the bad guys mentality is not a good thing. And we are now in an era where, you know, ICE agents are worse than the Punisher, but have that very same ethos and wear the logo. Like we know so many law enforcement officers. We see people. Here, I'll give the Punisher this. He doesn't wear a fucking mask.
It's so funny. Imagine if it was COVID. Could you get them to put the fucking mask on?
Truly.
Really.
So, unfortunately, I think this is gonna start feeling. I like Ben Percy. I know Ben Percy shares enough of the values that I have that he's not going to be like, no, this is great. This is really, really good. But I also know that a multi-million billion-dollar corporation is going to be very okay with a Punisher that can appeal to a much more right-wing base right now. And that is yet another reason why I don't love the idea of bringing Punisher back, and I really don't love John Bernthal Punisher being back in Daredevil.
And it's a little tough because one of the things that I'm really excited about with this coming era of new Punisher stuff is, what are they going to do with this other Punisher? Like,
oh, we're just gonna forget. We're just gonna forget this guy. Somebody in like 4 years will realize that he still exists. Also, I didn't mean to keep talking, but then I saw that you froze for a second, so then I was moving. Yeah, no, we're just gonna forget this guy. Yeah,
and I'm particularly eager because I want to see a great reckoning for this character. One of the things I love the most is, like, I knew enough Ghost Rider, but like didn't care for so much of it until you helped me see so much of the magic. And like, you know, it's one thing to have seen, you know, sections from the Sistine Chapel, but it's another thing to really appreciate the quality of the magnitude. And so like you see all of the heaven and the hell symbology in Ghost Rider, but until you really like step back and go, this is someone's understanding of conceptualized religion as they can relay it into a comic book, you know, like there is so much to be appreciative of, and so much to appreciate in those titles. I don't think Punisher is inherently set for that, but I believe his larger cast of characters can deliver what Frank can't. Because the thing that blew my mind the most about that Punisher title was how much of it was like supernatural. Like the Joe Garrison one. How much of that was like supernatural, and you're on mute, and so hoogity boo.
with like Fearmaster.
Yeah.
I mean, like, yeah. I was sort of surprised by that. Yes.
And so I'm really curious to see if we can build out like a Rachel Cole Alves sort of Maria Castle bigger picture world who can kind of work against him.
Yeah, I think no, but maybe I'll be really surprised. And it's, again, especially like because the only thing that we have coming up is the special presentation and Daredevil season 2. I think we're looking much more at something that looks like John Bernthal.
I agree. I also kind of, and as stupid as this is, I really want all of these Punisher characters to get together and have them all be like, but how do we fix our PR? And have Frank go, we can't be who we used to be. We have to punish them. And then I want Joe to be the one who's jumping in all white. And I wonder which one of them will have a small dragon on their shoulder. We're just going to steal the astonishing scene, and we're going to do it with all Punishers.
I mean, like, as hammy as that was, that's a pitch right there. Like, that's a script page right there. You know, it's not enough to stop crime. We have to punish them. And then you get the splash page where they're all walking out. I could be into it in a few ways. I feel like I have not read enough Punisher, just because it becomes interminable after a while and very difficult to slog through to get to. Like, if you have questions about, like, if something like this exists, is there like a non-lethal Punisher? Is there like a Punisher who's like, I'm essentially a Batman. Like, I just stop bad guys.
Yeah, I don't know if I can think of a Sabrina the Teenage Punisher, but
yeah, I don't think there's ever a time where he's like, I'm going non-lethal. But like, I honestly don't think that's a bad idea. You know, a Punisher that is like, I will just straight up ruin your life. Like, you know, if you're a criminal, I will figure out a way to take it all away from you. Like, somebody who could go toe to toe with Wilson Fisk and get rid of his fortune, not just kill him, not just kill his enemies, but like lay him low. Like, anything, give me anything besides like, I murder everybody, including innocent bystanders who are physically in the way of me killing the bad guy that I want to kill. Because we've seen it done so many ways. We have, you know, Miller wrote the original rooftop scene, and then we have seen the rooftop scene play out on page and on screen now. I really consider that basement Punisher apartment scene, just the rooftop scene painted in, not in a bad way. Like, it was a beautiful recall to the original. But again, like, I'm sort of just like, really, we're letting this gleeful murderer who thinks that he should be the ultimate authority on who lives and who dies, be like, Matt, you're as bad as me. Like, we're actually pretty much the same. And the show is like, bet that makes you think, doesn't it? And that's the only reason that I'm really just not excited for this Punisher special presentation, is because it is that fair and balance. Like, we got to let the guy who thinks that the earth is flat be part of the debate, because otherwise it's not balanced. If we're not letting the flat earther come in and say his views on science, it's not fair. And it's similarly, it's just like, if we don't let the Punisher come in and say, like, maybe I should be allowed to kill literally whoever I want in pursuit of my goal, it's not fair. It's not really, we're not really asking the hard questions if we don't let him in. That's like the one original sin of the Daredevil series for me, and it continues now. Because Dario, what's his name, is now the showrunner and loves Punisher and was the Punisher showrunner, it's worse than ever. And it sucks because John Bernthal's great. John Bernthal doing a version of Jason Aaron's Punisher would be life-changing. It would be so good. Because I think he could really commit to that bit of like, oh, I'm fucking doing it this time. Like, I've got the ultimate weapon now, and it's hell evil. They'll never get one past old Frank Castle, and he's just being completely fucking hoodwinked by an old lady. Please, it'd be so good. But him being like, you know, I got something to teach you, Matt, is just not my fave, and I'm not excited to see a very special, especially when the only other very special presentation I've ever gotten had fucking Man-Thing in it. Are you kidding me? You can't give me Man-Thing and then be like, here's John Bernthal yelling about how he should get to shoot more people. It's not the same.
It's not. And it's like, it's tough because I don't think that Punisher is fit to give Matt Murdock etiquette lessons any more than Patty LuPone should be teaching people racial etiquette. Let's don't cry for me, bad Punisher man, right? Let's put everything where it goes. Um, I really hated this miniseries, even though I think the writer is talented. I really loved Erica Schultz's arc, but she never really gave him a personality, so he's just kind of a gun. Um, I loved the Jason Aaron run. It was brilliant beginning to end, and actually, it's so funny because the Jason Aaron run had characters that would like influence that Daredevil run that would not get referenced in this Daredevil run very much. But you know, with Solid and Ahmed leaving,
And we still don't have an announcement.
so like, I would love it if maybe Punisher and Daredevil could like, I don't know, maybe not get along, but both be written by Percy. I'd see where that goes, but I really think Erica Schultz should just get like a title called Daredevils with both of them.
I do think she should get Daredevils. I think we should have that. Yeah, I always like. I've always wanted a sort of more cohesive. I mean, I'm for anthology books and for magazines and for like it's a thing we talk about all the time. Like, just stop doing all these X-Men books and do one huge monthly, even if it's weekly X-Men book that has 8 or 16 page stories for multiple groups. I think that'd be a really interesting way to do it. But like, I want that for everything too. Like, I want that for the mystical side of things. Like, I want Strange and Strange Academy and Wanda. But like, let's make them a little shorter stories and let's put them all in one, because Vision Scarlet Witch is a cool concept and it's really cute, but week after week, book after book, I don't love all of them and I don't want to buy them. And I always wonder, like, you can come up with great, like, that could be like, you can come up with great names for all of them, but I never know what to call the streets. What do you, Daredevil, Heroes for Hire, but then all the Heroes for Hire individually as well, Punisher, the street level crime books are, I really do think, so important to Marvel. And at this point, I think it's so important when they're no longer doing street level crime, but like they are the heroes with no powers, or like not shooty energy out of your hands powers, but they start going up.
I can't believe shooting energy out of your hands left Doctor Who.
Bye. I love when those people have to fight demons. Anyway, I mean, my point just being like, I would love for Daredevil and Punisher to be interacting more. And I don't really know what to call their corner of the universe that they would be interacting in, or what the book would be that would have, because Daredevil and Punisher, the book, I don't know that I would love, but like Daredevil, Marvel Punisher, Knights. Luke Cage. Yeah, Marvel Knights actually would be perfect. Thank you. Nailed it. See?
But I mean, like, that comes and goes. Like,
yeah.
Because like, I honestly, my favorite modern run of Daredevil is the Samney, and like, the Mark Waid, Chris Samney run. And like, it's the only thing that's a little better than the Chip Zdarsky run. And he's not a knight there. He's a swashbuckling adventurer who like goes on adventures with like horror monsters and like gets super cool flashback stories drawn by Mike Allred. And like, it's so cool. But so, okay. Anyway, first half of the episode, I'm gonna have to just kind of go out there and say the Punisher we lost was terrific. The Punisher we are losing, sure. The Punisher we're getting back is not my buddy, but John Bernthal is so outrageously sexy to look at that I'm willing to put up with a lot.
Yeah, you and I are basically on the same page. I'm reserving judgment because I have loved stuff that Ben Percy has done, and I have not loved stuff that Ben Percy has done. And again, my point really stands about kind of the political climate and how I worry about that with Punisher. for as much as I just kind of ragged on Daredevil and the Punisher's presence in Daredevil, there is something that's good about it. Like, there is something that's good about it. It's not quite my values, and I feel like there's a different way to go about it, but it's not horrible. And my interest is piqued in the special presentation. I said I want Marvel to do more of these. If nothing else, my hope is that this looks audience-wise viable and like a good option for characters. Because while I personally loved it and was satisfied from episode 1 to episode 6, maybe we could have been less harsh on Riri Williams if she had been a special presentation, if that had been, an hour and 15-minute piece. And hey, there's
everybody was so nice to Echo.
Another great example. And these characters deserve more, but if the choice is between never getting anything again or getting this, it's not necessarily the worst thing ever. And there's a lot of characters that I can think of where I would love to see them get something like this, just to see, some concept art, some fun, a good story. Another great example of, if she doesn't appear in Shang-Chi 2, White Fox would be a really fantastic character. And like that whole part of the Marvel universe to get something along the lines of, Werewolf by Night, where we got to meet Werewolf by Night, we got to meet Elsa Bloodstone, we got to meet Man-Thing. So it wasn't just one character that we got a bunch of cool appearances out of it. And you could get a White Fox, you could get Taegukji, you could get Swordmaster, and so like there's a lot of characters like that it would be cool to see. So my hope is that Punisher will get us there, if nowhere else.
I'm so glad you said his name, because I was so afraid I was going to mispronounce it. Swordmaster. I super duper love your perspective there, and I'm gonna hope for that, because one of the things that I am so grateful for of the last 3 or 4 years is the amount of audio dramas you've turned me on to, and something that I feel that if we can't get more special presentations in the form of D+, something a little bit more audio drama with a heavy bend on inclusion would be really cool.
Yeah, I completely agree.
And I really feel like characters like I think they're the Agents of Atlas currently.
They're currently Doom's division, but
Tiger Division.
Yeah, Tiger Division. Well, again, currently Doom Division, but yes, they were Tiger Division before that.
Man. Other than sounding like a local place that a white guy would teach me karate, I think Tiger Division is a great name for these characters. And Sensei Shulman is a very nice guy, for those who get the very local joke of tri-state area legend Tiger Shulman's karate. Anyway, let's talk about some fucking Batman. I have slain myself. I live and I die, and it's beautiful. Okay, you started this, my dashingly handsome friend. You started this with you. Oh, look at the mugging. Ooh, muggy. It's so muggy. This turkey makes me want to vogue. Should I?
No, you should not. This is not that kind of show.
This cranberry sauce makes me want to whack. Oh, anyway, I'm shocked as shit. Oh my god. Tony Award-winning Broadway legend Matthew Doyle says he remembers those commercials. Anyway, I wish Tori were here. She'd be laughing, so I'm gonna get myself together. You said that you had some feelings about Batman.
Oh man, I had a lot of feelings. This was such a roller coaster getting through all these books. I have never loved the Bat Fam more. I've never been more compelled by the Bat Fam, and Oh my god, solo Batman is so fucking boring. Holy shit, so boring. Just for me, borders on unreadable. Not bad. I can tell who I can see that there is an audience there.
Wait, for Hush 2?
Well, so Hush 2 is kind of my in-between answer. Hush 2 isn't good, but
it's revolting, yeah.
it's not good. But of the solo Batman stories that we were talking about, it is the most fun, interesting one because he's not really solo. Jason's there for one thing. Like once you get into issue 2, Jason's there. Other people are there. Detective Comics is so boring. Detective Comics is so boring, and it just is. It's for people who liked, and you're one of them. And again, this is a me thing. This is not a you thing, and this is not a moral judgment. It's for people who liked the movie. It's for people who like the Matt Reeves film.
And detective stories starring the world's greatest detective. I'm sorry, you're uncultured swine.
I'm sorry too. It's bad for me. I don't like not liking this book, but holy shit, it was so boring. But Batman and Robin, incredible. Oh my god. Issue. I want to say it's issue. God, hold on. I want to pull it up because I want to get it right.
While you pull that up, I just want to say I disagree. I really enjoyed the Asema arc in Detective Comics, but get that it wasn't your thing. I'm a big Tom Taylor guy. And I really enjoyed the Elixir arc. I just hated the epilogue.
Why did you hate the epilogue?
I don't like any time that a good guy's like, hey, get addicted to this drug. It's good for you. Like, that's
what Batman villains do.
Right, but it's Bullock. It's good guys. And, like, not a bad guy. So unless it's Clayface.
Clayface!
One of the greatest characters in the history of television. One of the greatest actors ever. His performance as Perry White changed my life.
So it's issue 20, and it's that first splash page where it's Batman on comms, and he's calling out to all of the Bat fam. And the final line of the final panel is "Find your brother," and it just like it fucking got me. I was like, we ride at dawn, man. So beautiful. That whole arc has really been fantastic, and this is where you get into the eccentricities of being a comic fan, because Damien's been around for a hot minute, and I've been aware of a lot of basic Damien stuff, and if I had not read any of this, or I had not read any of this before last week, and I had seen all of Harley Quinn. So I've seen a version of Damien that is built off of references that come from the comics. But this idea of him being like, maybe I'll fucking quit. Maybe I'll quit and become a doctor like my grandfather. Like, I've always known Damien from references and in passing as being the Robin who's like never going to get out of the game, and he's the one who's closest to being like a powered hero, so like he's never going to stop. He's trained by fucking assassins. He's never going to get out of the game. And obviously
he's
none
the
of the
one
other
who's going to get the money in that old person TV show starring what's his name, about old people leaving money to other people and they fight about the money, and he's old and it won all of those awards, and then it ended, and the guy's old but wealthy, and he tortures
Succession? Are we talking about
That's
Succession?
it. Yeah. He's the one who's gonna get all the money. I got there.
Yes. Yeah, he would be the Bat Fam Succession, he's the one he's gonna succeed. He shall be succeeding. So that's like what little I had known about Damian is like he's not going anywhere. Maybe he's not going to be Robin forever. Somebody's going to finally write him his big change, but like he's never getting out. And so that this arc is him being like, yeah, maybe I'll be like Grandpa Thomas. Like maybe I won't do this, and maybe I'll become a doctor. Was so good and such good like pathos. Some truly fantastic father-son conversations. Reed Richards, you are a fucking fraction of the father that Bruce Wayne is, which is sad because Bruce Wayne is not a great dad. He just really wants to be. He really, really would like to be. He might be too busy. He's got a lunch at 12, but if the lunch doesn't run long, he might be a great dad. We'll see. We're going to see what happens. It's a busy day. Reed Richards, you're a garbage father and a garbage husband and a garbage man.
But I'm working on winning you in Monopoly Go as we speak. I'm on the dig.
He's on it.
I
he's
know
working.
Where you are in the dig. I already got Sue.
You're going to find him.
I'm going to get him. I'm going to find that stretchy son of a bitch.
Yeah, Batman, just the father-son dynamics are fantastic.
Now, did you go back and did you read the first volume as well?
Yeah,
the first half, by Joshua Williamson. I think I might have enjoyed the Joshua Williamson era a little more than the Philip Kennedy Johnson era, but the Philip Kennedy Johnson era looks a little bit more like my Batman and Robin. Yeah. So I feel like I like the vibe a little bit more of the current era, but either way, I agree with you. This book is a slam dunk across the board.
Yeah.
Also, fun fact, as pointed out by Kevo, the Winter Soldier and Damian Wayne were introduced within a year of each other in 2005 and 2006, and both introductions would lead to Captain America and Batman dying, coming back from the dead involving time travel, and it's just nuts.
Wild that Damian's been around for 20 years.
And you know what? That was something I was thinking about when we were talking about Hush. He's not in the original, like there was no Damian when the original Hush came out.
Yeah.
I also want to put out there that in terms of compound titles for Batman, The Brave and the Bold ended in the beginning of 2025. I read all 20 issues of this. Each issue is 88 pages.
Yeah.
It's too long. I don't miss it. I enjoyed some of it. Like if you read it and you get to the Nightwing Deadman story and I'm going to cry trying to talk about it. That Nightwing arc that ends with Deadman and him learning to fall again and learning. Oh my God. Wow. Getting to read that Nightwing Deadman little story is so cool, but like you gotta want it, man. Like, ooh.
It's so funny. DC publishes these enormous books a lot. And I like love that they exist, but they're never for me. And then I start wondering, like, is it because the 88 pages aren't for me, or is it because of the characters? Because I'm like, because it's also like, it would depend on the era. Like, I don't want 88 pages of X-Men right now, but like, would I kill for an 88 page X-Men book if it were good and what I wanted? Yeah, so much. There's like,
I take 11 good pages out of 88, to be really honest with you.
I mean, that's the thing is like 9 times out of 10, I think that's the better idea. I think like if we're rolling dice, chances are the 11 pages are going to be better, but like holy hell would I love for 88 pages of great content by somebody I love in an era that I love too. So I don't know. But anyway, you were talking about Brave and the Bold specifically.
Oh, just it was too long and too big, and it was great to get all of that diversity of character. But I agree with you. For my money, Batman and Robin, that's the book. I do just want to go out of my way to say, Hush really is like. I actually have I have a notepad file. I have a document. I have it's a Word document, not a notepad file. I have a spreadsheet, and I give everything a little score. And my score for Hush 2 is, instead of A, B, A minus, etc., it's just LOL, because it's the fucking It's it's literally reaching a you know, like when some like there's a point at which I know Jeff Loeb has said some uncool things. Sure. So have I. I'm not defending Jeff Loeb. He has said uncool things. Period. He's the one who wrote the original Teen Wolf movie where Styles liberally uses the word fag. So it's his fault that we have MTV on Teen Wolf on MTV having inspired an entire generation of gay men to think that super wolfy boys are hot. Great, thanks. Great. The rest of us were just damaged by Arcus from the Green Lantern. Anyway, I truly believe Hush 2 is like the most at gunpoint thing I've ever read. If you want to read something else, that the barrel is like, and again, like Craven's Last Hunt, the barrel is loaded. Levels is Claremont writing God Loves Man Kills 2, where he quite literally feels his, you can like, if you read that one, you can hear Claremont just go, I don't care anymore. I just don't care anymore. Okay, I don't care anymore. The guy who used to be like, it's time to make the donuts in the donut commercials for Dunkin' Donuts, it's him waking up in the morning and going, fuck donuts, pizza for dinner. And like, that's it. Claremont just writes this story. It is terrible. It is so stupid and nonsensical. And it goes on to inspire every page of all of those characters for 20 years. That's this. I'm telling you, this horrible arc, which in contrast, the Long Halloween, Last Halloween, I got a couple of things to say about it, and they're weird. They're not bad. They're weird. That's great. It's not good, but for what it is, it's great. This is not good, and for what it is, it's bad.
Yeah, I don't have a ton. This is one of those, like, these two specifically, Long Halloween, Last Halloween, and Hush, are like, I have no skin in the game. The originals didn't matter to me.
My God, my entire personality.
Yeah, I know. I've read them now, and I think they're interesting. They're levels of interesting. And I certainly get how they're really formative for how people read the character, and then literally some of them went on to become, they read that when they were a kid. Long Halloween especially, they read when they were a kid, and then they went on to become Batman writers.
Oh yeah.
So it's really in the DNA. Yeah, neither one for me was formative, and has been like kind of equally formative / like differently formative in my current growing understanding of Batman, because I'm not reading in any kind of order. I'm kind of reading piecemeal. So Hush 2 is less offensive to me, because it's like, it's not ruining anything that mattered to me. But also, like, yeah, obviously it's not good. It's so and honestly, it's not just Jeff Loeb. I mean, Jim Lee again defined my shit. Like, he defined my X-Men shit. So like, that's really important to me. If Jim Lee was announced to come back for X-Men, I would have huge. It would be.
But can you go back to a Penny's catalog after you've had Sean Cody? I mean,
right. I mean, really? Yeah, like that's kind of, I mean, it's it's a very unkind example, but very funny, very, very funny. I mean, cause it would be like, can you ask the staff of a JCPenney catalog shoot to go shoot Sean Cody? Yes, no, you should not do that.
But even that, I just want to be like, to be clear, advertising a well-made catalog, a brilliant ad, it still fucks. It still is everything. Yeah, totally. I'm just trying to be clear. I was not insulting Jim Lee, and so please don't.
Oh, I'm insulting Jim Lee.
Oh, here, yes, but I'm just trying to say he's not a weird briefs bulge. He is so much more than that.
Well, but the point being, like, can you take somebody who's very good, excellent work from getting close to 40 years ago, was iconic, and say be iconic again, because the way they announced this was with the most insane video shoot of Jeff Loeb and Jim Lee like strutting like their Batman into a studio, being like the Mavericks are. And don't get me wrong, I can't draw stick figures. I cannot draw. So it's not like I'm being like, and he's not a good artist, but is he meeting the moment? And is he meeting the needs of the story? No, I don't feel so. That's not to say that he couldn't draw anything modern and do it well. But the other thing is, like, not all, like, people, especially in comics, a writer and an artist can come together and create something great. And then they both go their separate ways and they never work together again. Those people aren't partners forever. Like, there are Morrison and Quitely worked together so many times, worked together on so many things. Their stuff is, you know, enmeshed in a way where it's like, if you found out they were announcing another Morrison and Quitely piece, that would make so much sense and you would be so excited. You know, Erica Schultz and whoever is drawing whatever book she's on, it's never the same person. So I'm never like, got to get the band back together.
Look at that connection. Look at how they've forged this voice of one person.
Right. I understand that these guys created something really amazing many, many years ago, but they haven't been a dream team really since. Like, they're not churning out material and they're not churning out the greats. So getting them back together, it's potentially cool. Sure. Nice idea. But it turns out like that wasn't an ongoing chemistry. That was very much a magical moment. And attempting to recreate that magical moment again, it hasn't created magic. It's created a perfectly serviceable comic book storyline that exists. But like, I didn't get half the pathos and beautiful writing and psychology out of Jason yelling at Bruce about saving the Joker that I did from, you know, even Robin and Batman, Jason Todd, from the stuff between Damian and Bruce in Batman and Robin, from the stuff between Dick and Bruce and Dick and Alfred in Batman and Robin Year One. Like, everybody else is writing the adults and the kids very, very well. So putting Jeff Loeb up against them, it doesn't look as good. And it just kind of like, that was the really tough thing about reading for this book, reading these all at once, is like, I had just gotten through with so many beautiful Bruce and his children moments. Beautiful, heartbreaking, everybody's flawed, everybody's trying, everybody's failing. And then this is just like, because I don't think Jason sucks as a character, like Guy Gardner sucks as a character. I think I think Jason is a really interesting, compelling character. Mm-hmm. But this is whiny, shitty Jason that I think everybody thinks Jason is, but he's not. Yeah.
Well, I love all of the points you're making. And I'm really interested into diving into some of them, but I actually want to put on professor glasses for a second to ask you a question. Because, okay, hear me out. When the night began, this was not the comedy we intended to make. Okay. Batman Year One existed to apply a reasonable backstory to a changed Batman. Sure. Batman Year 2 and Batman Year 3 sucked, so they were thrown out of canon, basically. Not quite thrown out of canon, but relegated, although Batman Year 2 is the basis for Mask of the Phantasm. Sure. They decide that Long Halloween should serve as the second part of Year One. So, Long Halloween is intended as Batman Year 2. If you think of Batman Year One as the Gwen Stacy years, this is the stuff that leads up to the symbiote. This is the formative years, the pulp granditude of his maturity into the man who could fit the cowl, not just a set of trained biceps that could fight hard. Okay. Long Halloween is such a success, it gets Dark Victory. Dark Victory is a success enough that it gets Catwoman When in Rome. This is literally so fucking far out of canon. This can no longer serve as the sequel to what it was meant to be, but instead has to be the final note in the Halloween verse. Sort of the way there's those Hatchet sequels that are in their own AU written by the writer. But this was meant to explain something in canon, but became so out of control that it's its own canon now. And how that compares with something like Batman and Robin, Jason Todd 1 and 2, one of the most beautiful books in the world, which, by the way, I often think of when you finally have, like, you know, the financial production team behind you that can put artistry with you. That's the kind of book you would, like, you know, really blow people away with art matching your words. How do you feel about a book like Batman The Long Halloween, The Last Halloween, being so far removed from its intent by virtue of the fact that now it has its own canon?
I mean, it's the thing with DC a lot of the time is like there are a few little references in Gotham City Sirens, Unfit for Orbit, that seem, they're literally like one-off lines that seem to be there to say to you, we swear this happened in the same universe where the Catwoman book and the Poison Ivy book are happening. But like,
hey, Janet.
We gotta talk about that too. Holy shit. But like right now in the pages of Catwoman, Selina's on a very different adventure. And she is really not, like, she's not out there looking for Damian right now. She's on the run. And so Gotham City Sirens like makes some very literally just, it's like choice sentences that are very much there to say like, yeah, this is, we swear to you, this is actually happening. But if it did not have those, if you took out literally 3 sentences from the book, it would be another continuity because it's so wild.
So out there.
Yeah, it's really, I love it. It's so much fun. But like it, you know, when you're reading all this at the same time, it doesn't really feel like it's in the same ecosystem as the other ones, for good and for bad. And
that's the next Wicked movie. Wicked for good,
for good
Wicked for
and
bad.
for bad. Last Halloween has a similar vibe, like has a similar thing going on where it's like, unless you really called it, it's not going to be in continuity, but it's sort of for bad reasons. It's not because it's doing anything so fun that it just makes you unsure how it could be part of the continuity. It's just that it wants to be its own little lord of its own little castle and has its own little ideas about how the world of Batman exists, and that's fine. That's great. I don't know what you do with it after this. Like, I don't know who reads this and who's going to reference this again and why and how, and would that reference make sense? Would it be in continuity? Would it qualify? Would it make any sense?
You know, it's almost like when somebody decides they're going to be mad at somebody and then can't remember why they're mad at them, but remembers to keep being annoyed about it.
Oh, you mean my whole life?
It's almost going to be like, there's this story, and I remember all of this stuff happened, and I definitely remember reading this person dying, but I don't know how it applies anymore. I don't know what it's about. I just know that it's a visual I keep with me. It's a memory I'm carrying, and it's almost like these AU stories that are set so close to canon become grudges that we carry with us. I don't know if you connected with Dark Patterns at all. Did you have a chance to take a look at that?
Yeah, I wouldn't say I connected with it, but I did read it.
That's kind of how I feel about it. I feel like it was super serviceable. I feel like it really, Dan Waters, Hayden Sherman, Triona Farrell, they do a beautiful job alongside Frank Sirkovic. I'm sure I said his name like a hate crime. But I feel like it's a book where, like, it's set in the early days of Batman. It features some good mysteries. I enjoyed Scarface as a building. That was fucking wild. That was so cool. What a good visual. What a cool idea. Scarface has grown as so much more than a puppet. He's a building, and the building lights become his face, and he communicates. What a cool visual. But these references, who are they for? And so, like, I love your excitement about Gotham City Sirens, because one of the things that I really loved about Gotham City Sirens is that I would love it more if it was an ongoing monthly title. I would love it more if I felt like it had credence, if they gave this incredible writer, Leah Williams, the right to stretch her canonical legs, not just her superficial legs, because, like, that's sort of what it is. It's almost like superficial. It's a joke we make about sometimes making no statement about the endowment of those men, but, like, the fact that every guy in the pit crew pretty much has to stuff because it's on TV and everybody's looking. You don't have a choice. You can be the largest man in the world. It's not going to matter. You can be the tallest man in the world, and at some point on your movie set, they're going to suggest you put in lifts. That's just reality, right? And even a heavyset man, if he's playing a comedically large character, he is going to be put in a suit with prosthesis. There is no end to which we sort of try to out-embiggen and try to exaggerate so much of it. I think that one of the magics of a story like Gotham City Sirens is the exaggeration, is the over the top of it. But one of the things that does get me kind of down about it is because it's exaggeration there. When I go to the other titles, the exaggeration is less severe, and it kind of sort of, the stuffing becomes clear, that the extremeness, the extremity, that particular screen cap is not reality. And that makes a book like this frustrating, because they don't let it have its true legs and let the other books take suit.
Yeah, it's so weird. Harley Quinn is such a popular character. And
Truly.
She's such a merchandise machine.
Truly.
And I love Leah Williams' voice on her. I mean, listen, Leah Williams, I love you so much. You're so perfect. They're all dogging you. I feel so bad for you, because they did the same thing to you in Marvel. They did the same thing to you with Exterminators. I loved, like, not every book can be Exterminators, but the idea that Allison Blair, Tabby, Jubilee, and Laura Kinney talked to each other like that, had, like, girls group chat, used expletives, were gross, like said "hey slut" to each other,
dragged Bobby for being a prep queen.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, one, it's totally believable, and it made them feel more real and more fun, and two, it sucked because nobody appropriated even an ounce of that. Nobody even had, nobody had Jubilee in the other books that she was in be like, you should come fucking hang out with us sometime. Like, we have fun. Or, like, they didn't have, like, an inside joke that appeared anywhere else.
Yeah.
And it's kind of similar. Like Leah Williams is writing a really definitive Harley Quinn in that. I mean, she could be a writer on Harley Quinn the show, which we love so much and think is so funny.
It is very funny as a TV show.
Leah Williams has a really good voice for Harley, and it just feels like she's got a great voice for Harley. Harley's really popular. She should be setting the standard for Harley to then appear in other things. Batman and Robin, I absolutely love it. It's perfect as it is. It doesn't need this change. I'm just throwing out a pitch for like, what could we do to make things better and to strengthen the ecosystem? Imagine if, they did call Harley and they were like, we need to get everybody on this. And it was a Harley that could fit in the drama of a book like Batman and Robin, but had a voice that sounded like the one that Leah Williams is writing for her, because not everybody in a given situation talks the same or sounds the same. Not everybody is taking the situation the same amount of serious, even if they're all on the job at the same time. And Leah Williams is writing 3 women who are on a job together and have a great vibe, but they're all out in the DC universe. And then as soon as they get out there, the voice changes so significantly. And I get that writers have their own voice. That's important. But Leah Williams' voice is showing us something relatable and fun and like workable, and usable, transferable.
Yeah.
And when it's not transferred, it makes her story seem kind of siloed. And again, like they're almost alternate reality. But if you really think about it, it's a piece of how things ought to be throughout the DC universe.
Because it becomes a blueprint for another way to look at these characters. It's
Yes.
so easy to look at these characters through this concentrated lens that we know so well, that we recognize from things like Batman the Animated Series or a Zack Snyder film. But the idea that these characters can mean subcultural things, for all of the things that I appreciate and didn't appreciate about the recent Superman film, I don't think kindness is punk rock. You're talking about kindness from a Boy Scout, which was actually seen as a form of programmed oppression. And the retransmittal of that idea, from a guy who, frankly, James Gunn is the kind of person who would tell you music defines a person, but he gets to define music. So, he automatically makes your experience unreliable as a narrator by virtue of his telling you how you feel. And that's the nature of his films. That is not meant to be the fictional experience, but in so many ways that becomes the DC comic fictional experience when Batman is always portrayed in this way. And you touched on something I love so much, TK. Earlier you said that you really appreciate what a good dad Batman is, as is actually shown in Batman Jason Todd, where he is at his wit's end trying to be a good dad. Batman and Robin Year One, where he shows humanity and flaws by turning to Alfred and kind of being like, why are you better with Dick than me when you're obviously not great with Dick in the first place? And that humanity, that accessibility is something that I think is definitive of this character in every iteration. Yet culturally, because we're told Batman is kind of like a playboy douchebag even under the cowl, people have a hard time seeing him as there's this moment that I think if you're a Sex and the City fan, there's only so many definitive Miranda moments, but obviously the 2 most important Miranda moments are bathing her mother-in-law and and now go get our girl. And there is something so Miranda protective in Batman that I feel like that the world sees him as sort of a Charlotte who should have stood by Trey, because Trey is perfect. I'm kidding. Trey sucks. Kyle MacLachlan is the man of my dreams. It's two different things. But I just wanted to be silly. But like the point here, like for me, is the world sees Batman as a bad dad. Batman is an incredible dad. And you even like kind of pointed to some of those great moments, but it's exactly what you're pointing to now, that people have a hard time accepting that duality of character that really gets me down.
I totally feel you. And Batman, like, I did not just say Batman was a good dad. I said Batman really wants to be a good dad and is often not.
Well, and you pointed to good dad moments, but you also did point to bad dad moments as well.
And that's okay. Not everybody has to be a good dad. Everybody who is going to be a dad has to want to be and has to try to be. And I really do think he does try to be. I don't think he has all the answers, and I think he screws it up. And I think he also shows that when he screws up, he is aware of it and wants to do better. We see that a lot in Batman and Robin. So like, he is not just effortlessly a great dad. We have, Luke Cage is never going to be a bad dad. Luke Cage is always going to be the best dad. And
Lucky Danny.
We have some really fantastic dads in the Marvel universe. Or in the comics universe. Bruce is not always going to get it right as a dad, and he's not always going to be great. You know what we also really got that was an absolute fucking gift in Batman and Robin was like the closest thing we've gotten to a data page, and it's the journal entry from Thomas Wayne, where we get some insight into how Bruce was parented, and Thomas being also a flawed father, and talking about how Martha only sees the virtues in Bruce and thinks that he will always just be okay because he's a virtuous kid, and so if they screw up with him, he'll just absorb it. And Thomas, on the other side of things, frets too much and pays attention to all the things they do wrong, all the things that are not great about Bruce, including the problems that he has visited upon Bruce, like not being there for him. Which is a very like generational male thing, where you get caught up in work and providing for your family, or believing that you're providing for your family in ways that make you absent. And then you both recognize that that's not good for your kids, but also you believe you have to do it because you are called, not to something higher, but to something you believe is necessary, whether because you believe that otherwise you won't be able to put food on the table, or, because you're doing a work that you believe is equally important to the work of having children. But again, you see that visits a form of trauma and a form of confusion upon your child that is lasting. We now, there's written evidence that Thomas saw this happening to Bruce, and then Bruce is going to go on to do this to Dick, to Jason, to Tim, to Dave. Also, guys, we're reading so many books today. I think like one mentions Tim. We get one panel of Tim in what?
No, Tim is in like a ton of Batman and Robin, Jason Todd with Nightwing, and Jason Todd's like, I'm not like you, Nightwing, and he's like, but you could be, Jason, and he's like, fuck, what the fuck? Why can't you? I'm gonna run
Dick.
Away. Oh, you said Tim. Oh my God, you're so right. Oh my God, I just did it. I did the same. Goodbye.
No, that's okay. Yeah, Tim is in that panel, in that page, splash page that I loved from Batman and Robin number 20, where the Batman calls all the Bat Fam.
You're so right.
And then other than that, it's my understanding that Tim has a family.
Family enough, mostly a gay lover.
Well, I know he has that, but his parents are still alive, right?
Yeah. I don't remember them dying tragically, and that's if I don't remember his mom in a refrigerator, she's doing just great.
Yeah, there you go. So I know Tim's situation might be a little different, but I just think it's funny that we never talk about Tim when it comes to all this. But anyway, Bruce's Bruce is a complicated father because Bruce had a complicated father, and Bruce is a complicated son, and is now having complicated sons all over the place. And I think that's one of the most fascinating things about Batman. And it's why I'm so gung-ho about the stuff that we read, and why I'm so not gung-ho about Bruce being alone. Because when he's alone, he's not really doing anything. Because the thing is, like, I always thought that Playboy Bruce Wayne was the mask, and was the act. And I don't, again, this is not me being like, I was so insightful, I always saw it. It's just, I think how I absorbed the books, and
you're hot and smart, own it.
No, it's really not that. It's the thing that it's the story I've always told, which is I just took it for granted. I did not solve a mystery. I thought the entire point of, spoiler alert for a 40-year-old movie, people, I thought the entire point of The Sixth Sense was that Bruce Willis was dead.
I jizzed in my pants.
So the entire movie, like, from the moment he got shot, I assumed that he was dead throughout the movie. And then I was very confused by the twist, because I thought you were supposed to think that the whole time. I didn't realize that everybody else was sitting in the theater thinking he was alive. And I tell people that story and they think it's me bragging that I solved it myself and knew really early on. It really is not. I didn't solve anything. I just immediately assumed he died and watched the entire movie thinking he was dead. And similarly, like, I don't feel like I'm seeing a version of Bruce. Like, I really dialed in. No, I just feel like if you, like, I've read it the whole time as like, he's just faking this. Like, this is just the act. And it's why him being a dad makes so much sense to me, because billionaire playboy and like guy who actively antagonizes about his children are not really crossover concepts. It can kind of only be one or the other. And we get a lot more writing out of the agonizing over children than we do out of the billionaire playboy.
And it's so interesting because I feel like one of the things that we do as a people in a readership, I was talking about this with Kevo. He had mentioned a video by a YouTuber he used to follow, and like, there are so few YouTubers that I'll follow for more than 5 years, and I feel terrible about it. But like, other than anthological sourced things like the No Sleep podcast from Reddit or something, and even then, like, there's times I'm like, era, you at some point recognize a change in the patterns of what are successful YouTube influencers, and then you see the people that you watched in 2022 who have 2022 patterns, and in 2026, even if they've transformed, you don't see them as 2026 patterns, you see them as 2022 patterns, but they're faking being this 2026 vibe. And like, you let go of iterations of things because you have trouble allowing things to transform. We as a people have trouble allowing things to generatively become something new as they need to. And I feel like that's one of the things that characters in Batman are especially subject to. In part because Batman is so entrenched in what it is. I wonder how much Tim being lost is, what was Tim ever? He is the now bisexual Robin, but like, isn't Dick kind of bi, even if he's not? And like, one of the things that you point to so well in this episode is your understanding of Bruce and, the mask and things like, even Bruce Willis being dead in Sixth Sense. We go into these situations with an expectation of how we are supposed to engage. Somebody said to me something about a horror movie that I didn't see from 2 or 3 years ago, and they're like, I'm not going to give you any details, just go watch it. I don't want you to go in with any preconceived notions. That's really exciting. And that's something that it's really hard to have because we project an idea onto these people and onto these characters. And so I wonder if Tim is a victim of being an early 90s character, of being sort of associated with that time, so nobody is seeing him in another way, the way you're not, I don't want to say finally seeing Batman as a good dad, but you're transformatively seeing
No,
him
no,
as a different.
it's finally. I mean, like it's like
Yeah.
this particular deep dive has gone from like, I'm aware that Batman's a dad and that it's comic books. So like I imagine there's a lot to say. And this is me reading a lot of what there is to say. Like this past week of reading for the show, I would say, yeah, it is the culmination of kind of my understanding of Batman as a dad. And especially with Batman and Robin, like reading Batman and Robin really took me to a place of understanding that like it's great writers take it very seriously that Batman is a concerned father.
And it's so hard for people who attached to Batman as a child, where he didn't have Damian, a biological son. But, you know, every time somebody gets the authority to give a character a child, that's it. That character is a child forever. Green Arrow has like 11 children because people just kept saying go for it. So I'm left thinking a little bit about Batman as a man and as a dad. And I think about the women in his life, and I didn't put Poison Ivy on this list. I didn't put Harley Quinn on this list because I've only picked up the books at the speed I've picked them up. I just started reading Nightwing regularly. I just started reading Titans regularly. So I know that I'm behind on a number of the female-led Bat books, but I read Nate Bromble's Batgirl, and I read Torrin Grunbuck's Catwoman. Torrin Grunbuck's Catwoman is such an extraordinary title. She should be writing Daredevil, full stop. But I am struggling with where the book is about Catwoman and not a really cool super spy.
Yeah.
In contrast, I am loving Nate Bromble's Thank you so much. Tate Bromble's amazing, right? Because it's Nate Donovan. Wink. I am loving Tate Bromble's brilliant Batgirl, but it kind of feels like a Cassandra book, and like the ties to the Bat stuff don't really matter. So I feel like I'm reading a Catwoman book that's really only about the cool detective shit, never really about Catwoman. And I feel like I'm reading a Batgirl book that's really only about the cool Bat lore, not really about Batgirl having adventures. And so both of these books are like B+, A- slam dunks, but yet both of these books kind of fail some kind of test.
Yeah, I get that, especially with Catwoman. It's such a weird time because she is very much part of Absolute Power, which is where I came into the entire DC universe, really. Like that's where I really kind of I got into all the characters and started reading a lot of books that were coming out. And you know, she and Bruce are really together in that. And then I'm really still not even clear on why she's on the run, why she's not in the Batman books, and whether or not they're together and what's going on, which is a bit confusing and a bit jarring. And then, yeah, like it's a really good book, but it's just not sort of, I was getting really into the partnership between Batman and Catwoman, and like I was on the edge of my seat to see the relationship between Catwoman and Damian. Because that's just interesting to me. I mean, like, you know, it's both of these strong, powerful women in his life are villain anti-hero type. It's just very interesting. Anyway, I was really excited for it. It's all not there, but then the book is fantastic. It's really well written. It's very interesting. I would just kind of like it to be in Gotham, and she should be on the hunt for Damian or for Robin in Batman and Robin 2. Like, I want that. So missing that, oh well, that's okay. We'll see where this goes. It's still really well written. Batgirl,
it's actually Nat Girl.
Again, this is one having no relationship to Cassandra before this.
Really? This is your first Cassie?
Yeah. I mean,
I was lucky enough to be reading Batgirl when she was introduced. So like she is a huge part of like my childhood.
Right. So she's not part of mine. And so
Crazy.
So this first arc, I mean, this is a good thing in my case, because like I really feel like I'm getting to know her very well, but just as herself, just really as Cassandra Cain, not really kind of even as Batgirl.
Agreed.
As Batgirl, but not as Batfam Batgirl.
Like Alan Scott as a Green Lantern. Like, yeah, he's I guess a Green Lantern, but he doesn't have a lantern from Oa.
Right, and he's not hanging out with them. Like, he's not
exactly. Yeah.
And yeah, again, this is another one. She's not on the call to go find Robin because she's not there. And that's fine. It's completely it's not, I don't need that, but I'm learning about her relationship with her mom, and the one thing I am getting is, again, she considers herself the child of Bruce Wayne. She considers herself the child of Batman. That's her father. She says that over and over again in a way that really gets the point across. So now I'm fascinated, and now I want to see their relationship, and I want Batman and Batgirl year one, and I want to kind of see him raising a daughter and trying to have that relationship and see where he succeeds and where he fails there. That's very interesting to me. I love a Irina Derevko type. Is she an evil mom? Is she a good mom? Is she a good mom who does evil? Is she an evil mom who does good? I love that type. So that was an exciting character. I'm a little concerned about a man named Tate Bromble, who looks like Tate Bromble, writing so much in the mountains of the Himalayas, and there's a lot of culture work here.
I too am always nervous when someone who's that handsome writes about the Himalayas.
Very handsome man, sort of maybe not the person that I might have assigned to tell the story of a Tibetan woman's journey through Asia and then the rest of the world. Even if we got a guest writer just for Lady Shiva's backstory, I'm a little, I mean, like, I kind of think overall this might be a book that is better written by a woman. But he's a very good writer. It's not, there's so many fantastic writers who are not the identity of their character, and it doesn't mean you're a bad writer. It's just not your ministry. It's not your place.
Larry Hama isn't from Canada, but the fact that Larry Hama has I believe Asian ancestry does not remove him from the ability to write an incredible Wolverine. I completely agree. Ooh, hit me again.
I have really enjoyed this book, and honestly, like, Cassie, I'm learning a lot about Cassie. I like the character. I'm very excited to learn more. I'm learning a lot about Lady Shiva, a character I did not know existed until I started this book. And
she's the person who's punching Black Canary in the Black Canary book.
Yeah. No, I know, but just like not somebody that I was hanging out with in the 90s.
I didn't mean to even correct you.
Yeah.
I more meant like, she just, even if you read her, you might have been like, oh, she's just some punch lady.
Yeah, no. I now I know about a lot of her life, and I love it. I mean, it's a lovely backstory. It's a very interesting backstory. But I'm maybe excited to get into Cassie on her own, and maybe Cassie in Gotham, and maybe Cassie with the Bat Fam, if that is going to come to be. Those are things I'm really excited about. But this has been a great read.
You know, one of the things that I was really excited about with this project was the opportunity to engage with lines as a whole. You know, we've dinged X-Men for not feeling like a line as a whole because we read X-Men as a line. We don't read Batman as a line. We don't read Titans as a line. We don't necessarily read these other areas of comics as lines. And so one of the things that was really exciting for me was to think about what it means to dive into a title and see, okay, this is how they do Barbara. Okay, I'm going to jump over to another book that has Barbara in it. How do they do Barbara? Okay, this is how these 6 books do Damian. And getting to piece together this picture of the Batverse, this is why I think I was saying, you know, I wish we could do a Punisher verse where there are all these cool Punisher characters, because it's exactly what you said with that image from Batman and Robin sticking in your head. This idea of family, this idea of interpolation of existence, of shared space. It goes on to define how we feel about these titles. I feel like I'm part of the Bat family because I see Signal answer the call, because I see 2 different Batgirls answer the call. There's nobody answering the call for Punisher. I don't feel compelled to him the same way. And, you know, Punisher is a life of loneliness and conjecture. Batman is a life of complicated mystery and family. I'll take complicated and mystery and family any day over what Punisher's got.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree. But I think the flip side of that is, like, if I'm in a Punisher writer's room, I'm kind of telling you, like, look at Bat Fam. Like, what, even if we're not doing Punisher Fam, like, what can we do? You know, what can we do to sort of expand this line in a natural direction for it? I feel similarly like this is now irrelevant because we're doing something totally different, but like Hulk, I'm always like, you know, we've got She-Hulk and then Brawn, but like, what are we doing with the Hulks? Like, what are we doing with Hulk Fam? And I do have ideas there. But now we're doing Imperial, so it doesn't matter. But just like, what can we do to sort of figure out how all the other pieces of the universe, of your universe, of your character's universe, your Punisher universe, your Ghost Rider universe, your Daredevil universe, your Hulk universe, how those are actually Hulk fam, Punisher fam, Daredevil fam, and make that feel cohesive. Batman is doing it really well, and it always feels like every single character, every single book could split off, should split off, could have a story, should have a story, sometimes does, and it was a blast to read. There's a lot of really, really great stuff here, even if I hate the core character on his own. Absolutely, just I probably, unless we have to read it for the show for a specific thing, will never read Detective Comics again of my own volition. I will be very interested to read Batman again once we get out of Hush.
It's Fraction and Jorge Jimenez.
Yeah. I'll be very, very interested. But yeah, God, do I love the rest of them though, and do I love the whole family? And I love Batman and Bruce as the dad, as the patriarch. Like I don't dislike the character. I just don't like his solo titles.
You know, other than TK being wrong, so wrong. No, I'm kidding. He is absolutely not just entitled to his opinion, but you know, we talk a lot about the nature of hypersaturation when it comes to characters like Wolverine, when it even comes to characters like Deadpool. You know, Batman had 4 or 5 books today. That's a lot. And, you know, to say that Detective Comics, a comic that focuses on Batman being his most culturally batterific is it's a skippable book for sure. So I feel very much like yeah, that's a book that if that's not for you, you can skip it. Yeah, honestly, there are titles that I even love the X-Men, but it's a really hard sell to get me to read a book called X-Force. Just really honestly, it's tough. But books that you wanna read include in the next couple of episodes, we have got some fun stuff coming up. We've got Batman, Punisher, Lake of Fire, and Deadly Night from 1994, August and October respectively. Super excited to talk about those. A week from now, we have the Absolute and Ultimate universes. So we're going to be talking about things like Ultimate Wonder Woman, Martian Manhunter, Batman, Flash, Superman, Green Lantern, Ultimate Black Panther, Spider-Man, Incursion, Wolverine, X-Men, and Ultimates. Following that, we're going to be taking a look at things like the Green Lantern universe and the Fantastic Four. It's also going to be a great time to talk about the Fantastic Four movie, maybe talk a little bit about that shindig, which I'm expecting to be quite the experience. Following that, we're going to be talking about things like We Are Yesterday and its aftermath, plus some exciting Marvel events going on right now. We'll also be talking about One World Under Doom, as I described the previous events as exciting. So all of that is in honor of leading up to finally getting to Marvel vs. DC and Amalgam. Of course, we'll be taking a look at, by the way, at 11 years old, I pronounced it amalgam. Anyway. We'll be taking a look at things like Darkseid vs. Galactus The Hunger from August 95, Spider-Man Batman Disordered Minds from September 95, Green Lantern Silver Surfer Unholy Alliances from February of 95. You will come to understand so much of my personality from that. Bums me out. And then we're finally getting into Marvel vs. DC. Sir, you agreed to do this project for me. And it's so funny because I was saying earlier, but this is kind of the hush to our Spider-Girl.
Yeah.
It is the hush too, because Batman's just coming in and going, I know it's Tommy Elliott. Do you? This fucking trend out faggot motherfucker just comes into every scene, looks at someone who is vaguely his son, who I think he also got addicted to trend, to be clear with you, and just goes, it's Hush. And the kid goes, hush, I'm going to go talk about it with someone else. Leaves the room, has a fucking conversation about it. It's really bad. It is legendarily bad. It is like Kelly Clarkson's My December. It is so comedically disruptive. It is really, it's Jules 0304. I don't even know what to do with it. I am absolutely schadenfreude about it, to be completely honest with you.
Fair enough.
So, anyway. Kevo, you're handsome and you've been hiding in the background. Come say hi.
I wasn't ready. You need more intro than that, bitch.
Oh no. So, okay. Thursday, Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
I've stayed more or less spoiler free. I know that Ozark is Silver Surfer with boobs. I know that the bear is the Thing, but one of the guys doing there.
I know you're doing bitch, but I have a thing actually.
I'm not doing bitch. That's about as much as I know about this fucking movie. What do you got?
About John Malkovich.
Oh, yeah,
he's out.
Yeah, no, John Malkovich is out like it's Spider-Man 4.
What? And maybe that's a lie, even. Probably not.
Could be.
I hope not.
I would depend on who he was going to play, but we'll see, and then we'll go from there.
It's an hour and 55 minutes. I don't want there to be anybody that's not in the trailer in it. I'm not even kidding with you. This movie is so short, it could play Jiminy Glick. This movie is so short, it absolutely is one of the people playing Michelle on Full House. This movie is
no more.
Short.
I'm cutting you off. You can't keep doing
these. Right
these.
To complain about people.
Yeah, other people need to talk.
Shush. White. It is no, comedy comes in threes, and I'm not going to back down from that. Period.
Your threes are too long. Short threes.
Threes,
no.
traces, and trays. I said three things that all mean the same thing.
See, too long. All of that right there. The thing is, we don't have another movie coming until next summer, as far as we know. So there's a lot riding on this. There's a lot riding on whether or not this is good. So no, genuinely, like, I hear what you're saying about this movie is short. This movie is weird. I don't know, but we're gonna cover it. We're gonna have a lot to say about it, I'm sure.
Yeah, we're gonna have fun.
Yeah.
Well, until then, Kevo, where can everybody find you online?
You can find me on the socials at Kevoreally. That's KEVOREALLY.
TK, partner in crime, amazing. Oh, Tori loves a period piece. Tori, I also love a period piece. See Pixar's Seeing Red. Tori, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Wrap it up, brother. Let's go.
TK, where can we find you?
You can find me at TK Accidental on all your socials. Nico, where can they find you?
It's always a shame when nobody wants to hear your other jokes. Now I absolutely understand how Carrot Top feels. Nico,
you don't get to make Seeing Red references because we haven't watched it. So, Turning Red, by the way. Seeing Red is the Buffy episode where Tara dies.
Oh, shit, no. Seeing Red is the Chevelle song. So, Nico Action, Nicoactionmusic, Nicoactionmusic, HTML, X is for comics, X is for show. Please like, comment, and subscribe. We love you. We think you're amazing. I said please this time. Isn't that nice? But please, the most important things you guys can do for yourselves. Number 1, please stay safe. Number 2, please be brave. Number 3, please evolve daily. Who you were yesterday, incredible. Who you are today, that is Punisher. But who you are tomorrow, that is Batman with a kid. And we cannot wait to see the incredible dad you are. So until we are turning red flags, as Tori says, let's get off air. Let's think you're amazing and stay cool.